Hey, just wanted to show you real quick how I have this thing running now. So I replaced the lights, as you remember. So now they're the LED projectors and all that good jazz. One thing that I don't think I showed you, because I didn't wire it until today, actually, was the nice little white LEDs that are going around the trim piece on both sides of the headlight. So that's kind of cool. But anyways, I wanted to show you something that I wired up. I actually had to take the rear seat to get to this fuse box, which is underneath it, to wire everything in. If I was to take this thing apart, you would see up here in this bump right here all the extra wire that I put in there. So what I mean by wiring or rewiring it is, you know how when the daytime running lights would come on during the day when you put it in drive. So let me go ahead and take the lights off so nothing's on. I'm going to go ahead and turn the ignition on. And of course, you know that noise in the back is still here. So anyways, if I put it here in drive, and I do have a cell phone up there with a light turned on, so that way it thinks it's daytime, I'm going to go ahead and put it in drive, and I'm going to put the e-brake on. So now, instead of the low beams being turned on for the daytime running lights, now it's just the parking lights. And these U-shaped LEDs are actually plugged into essentially the power source for the side marker light. So whenever this guy is on, these guys are on. And there's actually something cool about that was kind of a byproduct of turning it into, having it powered by the same thing as that side marker. What I mean by that is I didn't realize until after I wired it that the side marker actually turns off when you have the turn signal on. So now when I have the turn signal going, it actually gets brighter on the amber when it turns off the white and the side marker, but it also flashes the white. So it's kind of even better, if, in my opinion, for the turn signals now. So that's kind of a cool little byproduct that I found out about wiring it into that side marker there. Anyways, so that's kind of cool that those U's are now staying on during the day instead of the low beams, because honestly, I really didn't like the low beams on during the day, but not the U's. So I'm going to go ahead and take this light source away up here from the auto headlights. And another thing that I wired in is once this guy kicks over to automatic headlight mode, I turned it where now it is automatic fog lights that come on every time the headlights come on. So that's kind of cool. And then here it indicates that the fog light is on with the little indicator light right there. So that's kind of cool. When you switch this guy over to side markers, of course, the fog light turns off. You can still turn it on and pin it when it is on just the side markers. Or if during the day, let's go ahead and put this guy back over here so it thinks it's daytime again. I'm going to turn this guy off, turn it back on. Oh, maybe that wasn't long enough for it to think it's daytime. I'm just seeing here. There we go. So even when it's just daytime running light, you should be able to just turn the fogs on by itself independent. But as soon as you take this light source away and the auto light beam or the auto headlights start coming on, man, that thing gets annoying back there. If I didn't know any better, I would think that someone is being stored in the back and banging on something. Anyways, as you can tell, the headlights came on and the fog light indicator came on as well. And that's because you could tell with the different color light on the bottom that the fog lights did come on. So that was kind of cool too, automatic fog lights. The downside to wiring it like that is unfortunately you can't turn them back off. So it's kind of just on for the ride. Anyways, here's the last cool thing. When you used to have the headlights on, or the high beams on, the low beams would turn off. Now, with these new housings I have in the front, unfortunately, the way that the high beams are is kind of like a spotlight effect. So they are like a really high beam circle that only goes in a certain area in front of the vehicle. So it used to, before I wired it up like this, when I turned on the high beams, it would just illuminate further down the road, but it wouldn't actually illuminate around the road like the low beams would. So to fix that, I wired it to where now the high beams, and just to show you, the little indicator right there for the high beams is coming on when I turn on that stick. But when I turn on the high beams, you'll notice that the low beams, and you could tell because the low beams have that cutoff, are staying on with the high beams. But as you could tell on the garage, if let's go ahead and switch this over to just parking lights and do the high beams, you'll notice, oh, I didn't even notice that. When I flash the pass, apparently it turns everything back on. Well, that's another byproduct. Apparently when you do flash the pass, it turns on everything too. Oh well. Anyways, I was going to show you what a circle that it used to be, but unfortunately now the low beams come on with it, so I can't show you the circle. But anyways, yeah, so the high beams now come on with the low beams, and the fog lights stay on too. The fog lights used to turn off when you had the high beams on. Now they stay on the full time as well. So now that's going to be pretty bright at night. I actually just got done driving it down the road onto some farm roads, back roads, and it illuminates the road pretty good. And the U's being kind of a turn signal plus is kind of a bonus. Now that they turn on and off with the turn signal, that's kind of a nice little bonus that we found out today. But yeah, that's how everything's wired up. Everything seems to be pretty good. As you can tell, I don't have any extra wires that are coming out of the fuse box back here. Let me see if I could turn on a dome light here. But yeah, there's no wires coming outside of the fuse box, so everything is kind of contained in the fuse box. Let me go ahead and see if I can grab a trim piece remover. And I'm going to just take out these little notches here. To undo the cover here real quick. And when you first open it up, it's, you know, you don't really see much, but all this wire up here that you can see, all the red wire and stuff like that, that's basically where all this stuff is hidden. So all it is it's actually just two more relays that is put in the vehicle in order for it to do all that. So that's kind of cool. And I drove it around, made sure that I hit some bumps and everything, made sure nothing came loose, and it seems like everything is still working right now. So I think it's in there for the long run. But yeah, nothing really seems to be, miss out of place when you first look at it. Now, of course, if you open up the fuse box, let's go ahead and open this guy up. The relay that used to be right here for the parking lights is gone because now those are going into the two new relays, because that's what helps it turn into the parking day running lights. So this relay that came in the fuse box from factory is now out, but there is now two new relays to take its place in order for all this to work. So as you can tell, it's kind of neat looking. It's not like too terrible. It's definitely not factory. If someone opens this up, they're like, what the hell's going on? But yeah, everything seems to be working good. So I just wanted to show you how that all worked, and hopefully you like it.